Okay. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you to everyone who is joining us tonight. Again, this will be the first of two public information sessions regarding the launch of the Human and Civil Rights Commission. My name is Evelyn. I am the staff liaison for this commission, and I work in the King County Executive's office in our Office of Equity, Racial, and Social Justice. I'm joined tonight by two of my colleagues, Phyllis Sutton and Celia Jackson. So I'll let you all just say hi for a moment.
Hi, everyone. I'm Phyllis Sutton and looking forward to hearing from all of you tonight. Thank you for coming.
Hello, everyone. I am Celia Jackson, also in the executive's office. We are so glad that you could join us and are very excited about your interest and participation in the commission. We have a great presentation for you.
All right. So again, I will be recording the session so folks who aren't able to make it to either session will have a recording to watch. It'll be accessible on our website. That being said, please hold all questions until the end. We have this session scheduled for about an hour, but I anticipate that the presentation will only take about 20 minutes, and we can use the rest of the time for some Q&A. So what we're going over today. So tonight's agenda, I will be giving some folks the background of our commission, an overview of our King County Civil Rights Program, the requirements mandated for the Human and Civil Rights Commission, our application process and timeline, and then again, we'll have some time for questions at the end of our closing. So to start us off, in King County's executive branch, our work is guided by our true north and values. Our true north is to make King County a welcoming community where every person can thrive. Our values define the way we act, what's important to us, and our expectations for ourselves and one another. These true north values include: we are one team, we solve problems, we focus on the customer, we drive results, we are racially just, we respect all people, we lead the way, and we are responsible stewards. These values guide the work we do at King County and will also guide the work of our 50 active boards and commissions. So the King County Human and Civil Rights Commission, some background is that this commission has existed in many iterations. It originated in 1976, established as the King County Affirmative Action Committee. And then in 1995, it was replaced as the King County Civil Rights Commission. In 2006, the size of the Civil Rights Commission was reduced from 16 members to 12 members to align with a charter amendment that reduced the number of county council districts to 9. Then beginning in 2009, the Civil Rights Commission became the county's primary advisory body on county policies relating to equity and social justice, which led to also the establishment of the Office of Law Enforcement Oversight and immigrant and refugee communities. As these policies have become a bigger priority for the county, many of these activities were delegated to either new commissions or absorbed into the functions of county offices. For example, our work with immigrant and refugee communities was held now by the Immigrant and Refugee Commission, and that was created and sits within the same office that I work in, the Office of Equity, Racial, and Social Justice, and is staffed by our Language Access Program. Another example is that the Office of Law Enforcement Oversight has the Community Advisory Committee, which is now housed under the King County Council. And since 2020, this commission has been inactive. And so the King County executive, previous executive Dow Constantine, and our county council worked to bring this commission back over the last few years. This commission will work alongside but is independent from the King County Civil Rights Program. So here I'll just cover some background about our current civil rights program. In 2022, November of 2022, the King County Council codified the Civil Rights Program under the Office of Equity, Racial, and Social Justice, which lives in the King County Executive Office. In our office, we also house the Civil Rights Program, the Language Access Program, and other county-wide equity initiatives. Prior to this, the Civil Rights Program was actually its own Office of Civil Rights, operating separately under the Department of Executive Services. Our Department of Executive Services currently houses other things and divisions such as our Records and Licensing Services, our Office of Emergency Management, our Office of Inquest, and more. The duties of the Civil Rights Program are mandated in our King County Code, Section 216, and they include the enforcement of our county's anti-discrimination ordinances, serving as the county's Title VI coordinator, and assisting departments across the county in complying with federal ADA, Section 504, and more. It should also be noted that the jurisdiction of the county's anti-discrimination ordinances are limited to unincorporated King County, for example, places that are not governed by a local municipal body such as Vashon or Maury Island, the greater Maple Valley or Cedar River area, Bear Creek and Sammamish, and within King County government. So other municipalities, think of the city of Seattle or city of Bellevue, city of Enumclaw, all other municipalities have their own civil rights investigation bodies. And so those claims will fall under their jurisdiction to investigate and enforce. One of the tasks of this commission, the Human and Civil Rights Commission, will be to draft a report with recommendations on where the civil rights program should live at the county. Another task of this commission will be to review and conduct fact-finding sessions of complaints filed under the county's anti-discrimination ordinances that produced both a finding of no reasonable cause and where a request for reconsideration by the complainant was denied. So once this commission is seated, we will make sure that the county's civil rights program and program manager give a presentation of its scope of work and is available to answer additional questions. So because this will be the Human and Civil Rights Commission, I think it's important to just define these terms up front. Civil rights generally refers to an individual's legally protected right to equally engage in the public aspects of their society, whether it's voting, access to housing or employment, and education, regardless of their membership in a protected class. So protected classes became the subject of civil rights law in response to historical discriminations on the basis of a shared characteristics. For example, the Federal Civil Rights Act of 1964, as we might know, prohibited discrimination on the basis of race in employment, public accommodation, and voting. And this was largely in response to the Jim Crow segregation era and the discrimination that was present in the United States at the time. Another example of our civil rights laws are the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, which prohibited discrimination on the basis of disability, including in employment and access to public spaces and programs, which was in response to historical discrimination and barriers to people with disabilities accessing public life prior to this passage. Human rights, by contrast, are rights that everyone is entitled to simply by virtue of being human without regard to protected class or other status. These rights are often expressly protected by law. However, the notion of a human right is that it is never justified to infringe upon them, regardless of legal status. They are based on values such as fairness, respect, equality, and dignity. And there's no definitive list, but the UN's list of human rights does include the right to be alive and free from inhumane or degrading treatment, the right to be free from forced labor, the right to health, the right to a fair trial, the right to free elections, the right of opinions, thoughts, and expression, and more. So a trend over the past several years that we've seen nationally has been to include human rights into the titles of offices or commissions that also pertain to civil rights. For example, the state of Delaware has a whole division of human and civil rights. Now that we've set that groundwork, this brings us to what the Human and Civil Rights Commission is. So the Human and Civil Rights Commission was established in June of 2024, and if you'd like to read the code, it was codified in our King County Code, Section 231. This commission will play a pivotal role in advising the county executive, King County Council, and the public on implementing policies that advance human and civil rights. For the initial commission formation, there will be 5 commission positions that have initial terms of 3 years. 3 positions shall have initial terms of 2 years, and the remainder of the positions shall have initial terms of 1 year. These terms will be determined by a randomized method, and at the conclusion of each initial term of their appointment, all of the subsequent terms for that position will be 3 years. The selection committee will be responsible for selecting 10 members to get appointed for the inaugural commission. And then that commission, these 10 members will work to get appointed by the King County Council, which may include attending 1 or 2 council meetings virtually to get vetted by council members. Sometimes they like to ask some questions about the folks and their experience. And then after being appointed, this body will then determine its 11th member. So there will be 11 members total for the Human and Civil Rights Commission. Another thing to note is that there will be an expectation of both in-person and virtual participation, and we will work to make it as accessible as possible for everyone, which leads us to our final important detail, that non-government employed members will be compensated $75 for 1 commission meeting per month. So that means that if you have the need to have multiple meetings per month, you will only be compensated for 1 meeting. However, you do get reimbursed for travel expenses, which could include parking in county facilities, transit, mileage for all meetings, regardless of how many times people meet in a month. And this compensation standard is subject to change as the county has been working on a proposal for baseline community compensation legislation. And this amount should also go up depending on inflationary increases. The legislation that establishes this commission has several requirements. As folks who are here who may have already filled out the application might have seen, it requires that at least 1 member has knowledge of King County government's agencies or systems. It also requires that its membership includes people who have the following types of experience, which are professional or lived experience in ADA compliance or disability justice, professional or lived experience within the immigrant and refugee community, and experience investigating or enforcing civil rights. Additionally, members must be geographically diverse, spread across all 9 King County Council districts. Our application on Microsoft Forms has a link to the tool that can help you identify which county district you live in. I highly suggest using the tool, even if you feel confident about which district you're in, as we have started receiving some applications and noticed that some have their district incorrectly marked based off of the cities that they've listed. And, we have legislative districts, we have congressional districts, we have city council districts, and we have county council districts. So it's very understandable to get those messed up potentially. Next, I'll be covering some key duties of the Human and Civil Rights Commission. Some of these key duties will include advising on policy, recommending ways to strengthen anti-discrimination policies and address historical inequities. Historically, the Civil Rights Commission took on a large role in engaging with communities, which included community partners, as well as commissions at different municipalities or in different levels of government. So that includes gathering input from historically disadvantaged groups to inform county decisions, reviewing civil rights protections, assessing the effectiveness of current laws and recommending improvements, monitoring policy impacts and supporting equity efforts, ensuring that our county policies promote fairness and do not disproportionately harm marginalized communities, providing input on legislation, on equity plans, and resource allocations to advance justice. And finally, crafting an annual report. The first annual report will be due in April of 2026 and will be due each subsequent April. And you will work with the staff liaison, in this case myself, to submit that report to the executive's office. And there's the potential that the council will have some questions as well. And so being present to answer those questions will be important as part of the role of the commission. Finally, I'd just like to go over the timeline just so folks know where we are right now. So as people may be aware, the application window opened just about a week ago now on April 16th, that Wednesday. We have 2 public information sessions, one tonight and the other one on May 8th, which is a Thursday at noon during a lunch hour. And what I will say is that if there are folks who cannot make either of those sessions, again, one, we are recording right now so that this information can be accessible to folks on our website. And then 2, I'm also happy to set up a call or meeting with anyone, prospective applicants or otherwise, who have questions. And so please feel free to reach out if those 2 dates don't work for you. Our application window will close on June 3rd, 2025. So that gives folks another 4.5 weeks now. And we're hoping to notify the applicants of selection by the end of June. Finally, part of the selection process will be going through the appointments to council, and that will be heard in the Law and Justice Committee, which we know now will be a Tuesday, July 29th at 9:30 a.m. And the appointment process to the council will be up to essentially them and their timeline and what other legislation potentially that they have passing through. So we're not entirely sure at this moment, just when the committee or the commission will be seated. But we do know that the first Human and Civil Rights Commission meeting should occur within 1 month after the full council confirms them. And then again, just to reiterate, the first annual report will be due on April of 2026, April 15th. And of course, depending on when the commission is seated, we totally understand that there might not be a lot to report on. But getting into the cadence of developing the report and working on that transmittal process will be important. And at that point, I just want to thank everyone for their time tonight. I will stop the recording now and we will start taking questions. There is a Q&A function on the Teams. So thank you to everyone who listened to me talk for the last 20 minutes.